Okay. Good evening and welcome to the October 16th, 2025 Open Space Conservancy Trust regular meeting. The time is now 5:03 p.m. I am Hillary Atay, Chair of the Open Space Conservancy Trust. Tonight's Open Space Conservancy Trust meeting is being brought to you in person and by Zoom. The Zoom video of this meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to the city's YouTube channel later this week. Welcome to all and thank you for joining us tonight. Trustees, please turn on your microphones for the roll call. Will city staff please call the roll?
Thank you, Chair. Trustee Gasper, Trustee Hildebrandt,
Present.
Trustee Council Liaison Becker,
Present.
Secretary Bender, Vice Chair Carolyn Brissett,
Present.
Chair Atay.
Present.
Thank you, Chair.
And did we get Jerry?
Oh, sorry. I thought I did. Trustee Poor.
Here, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
City staff, is there anyone who has signed up for appearances that wishes to address the trust?
No, Chair.
If none, thank you. We will move to our first item of regular business. The first item of regular business is to approve the minutes from the July 17th, 2025 meeting. Trustees, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a second? Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. There is a motion by trustee, are you liaison Becker?
I don't know how
Oh.
we're, yeah.
Liaison
Let's do that.
Becker and a second by Vice Chair Brissett. Trustees, please turn on your microphones. Will the city staff please conduct a,
Ask for discussion.
excuse me, excuse me. Do we have any points of discussion on the minutes? Yes, Chair Hildebrandt.
Yes, last time I expressed some concerns about the brevity of the minutes in that they might not contain information that was sufficiently interesting or detailed for the reader. And so pursuant to some email discussion that happened after the meeting, I decided to investigate whether it would be possible to accommodate the action style of minutes while also providing a more detailed kind of minutes or summary automatically to interested parties. Since the meetings are all recorded in video, it seemed to me that there could be a technological solution to providing a minute summary that was more detailed than what the action minutes would contain. So I did, in fact, take it upon myself to do some investigation on that. And to summarize, I would say that I found a package called nata.ai that does a very good job of providing a transcription. It seems to use AI in order to cross-correlate the words that are used. It gets name spelling correct. It does not make homonym errors like some of the other packages I looked at. And it also provides a very nice summary. Our last meeting that I ran through the software came up with a 2-page summary that touched on all of the major points made. So I think this would be a very good tool, if not to use in general officially, something that individuals could use in order to get a quick summary of the goings on in the minutes. And the end goal of this might be to dispense with the rather antiquated idea of taking handwritten or typed notes and presenting those for approval as part of our regular meeting. So at the appropriate time, I'll make this recommendation. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Trustee Hildebrandt. Do we have any comments from any of the other trustees? Vice Chair Brissett.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was looking at these particularly in view of the discussion that we had at the last meeting. And this is really a much shorter direct sort of summary. But like Tom, you have a little bit of concern because if somebody did want greater detail, it's not available. And perhaps, Tom, if your suggestion is usable, perhaps a link could be provided to someone who wants more information. Because I think in terms of the brevity of the paperwork and honest reflection of what happened, I think this method certainly hits the key points.
Thank you, Vice Chair Brisseth.
Mhm.
Do any other trustees have any comments or points of discussion to bring up? No? Okay, thank you. Trustees, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I think there's already the motion on the floor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
It's already been
Yes,
seconded.
okay, so sorry. Trustees, turn on your microphones. Will the city staff please conduct a roll call vote?
Thank you, Chair. Trustee Hildebrandt,
Aye.
Trustee Poor,
Aye.
Council Liaison Becker,
Aye.
Vice Chair Brisseth,
I
Chair Atay.
Aye.
Thank you, Chair.
The next item on the agenda is the 2026 meeting schedule and draft work plan. We welcome Parks Operations Manager Sam Harb.
Good evening, Sam Harb, Parks Operations Manager. I'm sharing our draft work plan so far. So this is our first look at the work plan for next year. We will get another chance in the January meeting when we finalize the work plan as well as the annual report to council. That will go to the consent agenda and probably one of the March meetings. So starting out January 15th, we've got our annual report to council topic. And this is required in our bylaws each year. So staff will generate that and work with the chair to finalize and then present that in the January meeting. Then we have, along with that, we will finalize this work plan. And then moving on, we have the story project update. That's the QR code project that a committee of the trust has been working on. So we hope to have an update on that work. Quadrant reports being an ongoing item. And then moving into April, we've got our trails work plan and restoration work plan, as well as letterboxing starting, and then a forest health survey update is slated for that area.
The third item of business. Whoops.
Oh, sorry, I'm still
Oh, I'm
got a
sorry.
little bit more to go. So July, we got the election of officers as well as the Riverside application report and the off-leash dogs update. And then in October, we will get a look at the schedule for 2027, as well as letterboxing recognition and scout project recognition as well. And Chair Ete, we had talked a little bit about the letterboxing. I've got an update in our department report later, but if you wanted to bring up anything that we talked about that, I think this would be a good time for it as well.
Okay, thank you, Sam. When Sam and I had our meeting about tonight's meeting, we had discussed letterboxing, and by the time I came on to the trust, I think letterboxing has been going on for several years already and was not something I was terribly familiar with, but it seems like since the time I have been on the trust that interest has been waning in this program in the community overall. And I'm wondering if we could talk about it as a committee and think about whether it's a program that we are committed to continuing. Specifically through our trust. It seems like it's something that happens, but that the lion's share of the responsibility and the implementation has become a task for city staff as opposed to something that has really been implemented and organized by the trust. So I thought that we could open that up to discussion later on this year if people are interested. Any bits of discussion at this time regarding letterboxing or thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, I agree with that proposal.
Okay.
I see that we have on our agenda tonight, a review of our sign inventory in the park. And so we might want to put a slot into the work plan for next year to review those results in case there's any action that we want to take on the sign inventory or update how the signage is done. So it's a suggestion that I have that, or something that might be slotted into our draft.
Thank you, trustee Hildebrandt. Do any of the other trustees have a comment? Yes, Vice Chair Mercer.
Yeah, thanks. Just this is unrelated to letterboxing, but I'm interested in exploring that topic for sure. The meeting that we have slated for April 16th is the week of spring break for the school system. So I wonder if we should, consider a different date for that meeting. I think we had changed it this year because of the same issue.
Would that be a possibility for us to modify when that meeting is at this point?
Yeah, we could just reach out to everybody individually and see what they're, like, if that would be a conflict. And yeah, I think it was like the week of, or maybe the week before that, we've figured out that folks couldn't make it. And so we had to
Right.
post that.
Okay.
So is there a date in mind at this point, or should I just reach out to everybody individually and just see what the spring meeting timeline would look like?
I would think it's probably better to do an email, seeing as we are missing 2 people tonight, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, so I just put TBD on the April meeting.
Great. Thank you, Sam.
Good. Thanks.
Thank you, Carolyn.
I was just gonna
Trustee
respond.
Eisenberger.
I was just gonna respond to the letterboxing and say I agree that we should look at that if that was like the question. Is, I mean, I don't know what the conclusion would be from that, but I'd be interested to know, like, if the numbers have actually been declining, what that looks like, how much they've been declining, and make a decision. I'm not supporting getting rid of it or keeping it either way without getting information. But if we're just talking about adding it to the work plan, it seems wise to look at it.
Thank you. I agree with you. I also don't have any numbers on that, and I think that would need to be part of the discussion. Thank you so much for your insights. Okay. Sam, is there more to discuss with the schedule?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, great. Okay, the third item of business is the Pioneer signage inventory and update. We welcome back Park Operations Manager Sam Harb. Thank you, Sam.
Oh.
Mm.
All right, so this is a kind of a quick update. Since our last, what spurred this whole topic is some customer service inquiries about signage, and specifically in the southeast quadrant with some of the equestrian uses and conflicts with pedestrians and bicyclists and that sort of thing. Since then, we've had a staff member go around and survey the park and discover that several of the yield signs in the southeast quadrant are missing. And so those are kind of like the triangular, who yields to what, everybody yielding to the horses, and then between the bicycles and the pedestrians. So I think this is kind of a simple project we can work on this winter. We don't actually have apparently any of those signs remaining, so we're going to have to get some printed. And the map in the southeast quadrant where it has the X's show where the signs are missing. So looks like 6 of them there. Other than that, the rest of the inventory looked pretty good. But, this can, as Tom said, this can be an ongoing topic as we determine, what's working in the park and what needs to be updated. Any questions on any of that?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions about the inventory. So it looks like the last you're just saying questions on just anything related to the sign inventory or specifically, yeah. So the last inventory was 2016. That's what I could find, it looked like, was that?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Somewhere around there, okay. Is that, I noticed on there, there's no, like, in the interior of the northwest quadrant, there's like the signs that have like the metal, it's almost like a black with like the screws in them that say where.
The wayfinding signs.
The wayfinding signs?
Yeah.
So those aren't on here, like, was that,
Mm.
do we not want to include those, or do you think we're not including those? I'm just curious, like, how exhaustive of a list this was, or if we were like mostly taking, if we're trying to like have an exhaustive list, or if we're trying to just update the list from 2016 to find ones that are missing.
Yeah, that's a good point. It was basing it off of the 2016 one, so that's something we can update for sure.
Okay, I was just curious, because and then I also, similarly, there's some in the northeast quadrant, I know there are some navigational signs, like, because I was going through and taking pictures when I was first joining, like, there's one that's like pointing toward the Ravine Trail and the 68th Street. It's like a single sign that is also in the interior that was not there, and whether we'd want to document those or not is it.
Yeah, as a historical note, the wayfinding signs were an Eagle Scout project, so they might not have been included
Oh,
in the city sign inventory since they
Yeah.
weren't installed by the city.
Oh.
It depends what the purpose of the sign inventory is. I'm not saying we should have these. I was just curious without knowing the intention of it.
Yeah, I think this is helpful to talk about because, like I said, what this started from was some of the issues in the southeast quadrant with the horses and pedestrians and things. So maybe if we have a follow-up item to get some suggestions and feedback on, what's working as far as signage and what's not, because it is kind of a delicate balance in the park system. We
Yeah.
don't want to oversign and we don't want to oversign something as pristine as Pioneer Park. So that's something we can update on our inventory and add those. I think they weren't looked at as far as this piece. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Oh, excuse me. Trustee Poor.
Yeah, I appreciated the staff work provided in the packet. And I wanted to ask if part of the work when we revisit this might also include looking at whether there's opportunities to consolidate some of the signage. It seems like on some of those signs, there's various signs posted, like laminated signs attached to the wood sign. And I wondered if it might be possible to consolidate that, if staff could look at that when they bring it back to us.
Yeah, that's a good point. I also note that we have the story update. So when and if something comes out of that, then we would potentially have some signage, maybe added QR codes, either added to existing signage or, installed somewhere to give some of the technological interpretation opportunities. But yeah, I get what you're saying. There's various user groups and city departments that utilize some of the posts for, pet information, or we use them for, posting some special events and volunteer projects and things. And so I think potentially some of those main kiosk map signs are a little bit undersized, or if we need to use those as something to post, relevant information of what's going on in the park, then maybe we should update those and give it enough room to be able to do that cleanly.
Mhm. That makes sense. Thank you for your input. I did want to bring up something that Council Liaison Becker had brought up is when we were on our introductory walk together in the park, I remember we were looking at some of the signage in the northwest in the interior. I think specifically around Salmonberry Junction, I think is what it's called. There's like a wooden post in the ground with a blue map on it that doesn't really have too many streets labeled on it and has a bunch of crisscrossing signs. So it seems to be a map of sorts, but it seems relatively old and not terribly user-friendly. So I don't know if that's a standalone map or if there are a series of those maps that I just haven't noticed. But if we could, I think, decide what we want to do to codify navigation throughout the whole park in one way, that would be something worth looking at as well.
Yes, I had a further comment. In general, I think that signage should be kept to a minimum. And one of the possible outcomes of the STQRY activity would be to remove the aging signs about the forest health and recycling and those sorts of descriptive signs that were installed well over a decade ago. So during that discussion or in the discussion pursuant to this one, we should consider which signs may be removed as a result of successful installation of the QR signage.
Thank you.
And an additional comment I had was that if we had a design document or some parameters that we use for deciding whether a sign is appropriate or needed, that would be helpful in carrying on the discussion and settling what it is that we want to achieve with our signage. I think it would be very helpful to have some rules that the staff can work by. And so since I made this suggestion, I would be willing to come up with a draft of that design document or work with anyone in the city staff that was assigned that project.
Yeah, I think a good starting point for that would be to use the open space zone work that we all worked on. And because that broadly, that does have sizing restrictions and things like that. So maybe starting with that and then developing our own Pioneer Park protocol for signage. I think that's a standardized good way to go forward.
Yes, thank you.
And just to be clear, Sam, you're referring back to our joint meetings that we had last spring. And yeah, I do remember we talked about design conventions and colors and sizes, a fair amount about signage in the park. So
Yeah.
that might be a good thing to revisit for sure. Thank you. Okay. In other business, we welcome Sam again to present on department and city updates. Thank you, Sam.
All right, I've got a department report for everybody, October 16th, 2025. So starting off with letterboxing, I've got an update. The program ran from June to September this year, and we did have 31 completed booklets that were turned in back here at the community center. And all of the users that completed booklets received a certificate and prize. And then just highlighting some summer trail projects in Pioneer Park. In the northeast quadrant, we added some rock steps and gravel to that tricky route section that continues to be just a difficult area to construct in, but I think we got creative a little bit with some of the stones and gravel, and I think it's improved it quite a bit. The crew also added some non-skid surfacing and railing to the Pioneer Park Northeast staircase, as well as decommissioning the redundant trail that was going around the tree in the northwest quadrant. They installed drain rock and gravel on a muddy section in the northwest quadrant. That's the upper right photo there. And then still in progress, they are working on some steps in the southeast quadrant. Couple other maintenance updates. We do have a new donation bench that was installed in the northeast quadrant. Some time ago, the trust approved some locations for potential park bench donations, and this was one of those locations that we utilized. I think that most of those spots are kind of filled up. There might be one or two potential ones remaining. So that is a program that we offer throughout the park system in installing a donation bench with a plaque. And then right now the crew is finishing up winterizing our irrigation system across the park system, as well as leaf cleanup. A lot of plant orders and things are coming in for fall planting, and we're also getting some concrete and asphalt repairs done before winter. Roanoke Playground is complete and open, and there's a little bit of a punch list that the crew is continuing to work on, including the installation or the completion of the split rail fence around the backside of it, and some additional planting and irrigation installation later this winter or fall. And then I just want to highlight some of our volunteer events coming up. We've got on the 18th, a work party at Pioneer Park, the 21st mindfulness walk at Pioneer Park. And then I want to emphasize our annual Arbor Day celebration. That's on the 25th at Clark Beach Park. Is that correct? And then on the 26th, we've got a planting at Ellis Pond, as well as a work party in the Luther Burbank wetlands on the 1st of November. And then a city event coming up. We've got our town center trick or treat event. That's on October 31st from 3:30 and 5:30 in the town center. You can check out the webpage there at Mercer Island /Halloween. And there's going to be a candy tractor apparently. So that's pretty exciting. Tractor full of candy. I wonder if it's going to be the little tractor or a big tractor. We'll see. Big, yeah, the loader. No, but maybe I'll come fill my pockets. And then just finishing up, we do have a special meeting coming up in about a month. That's the special joint Parks and Rec Commission open space meeting where we will be discussing e-bikes in the parks and hopefully getting some recommendations to council on if and how we want to regulate e-bikes in the public parks. And then the January regular meeting, April, that'll be TBD still. So we'll reach out on that to make sure the April meeting works for everybody. And then July 16th and October. And then just as a reminder, our regular meetings are held on are generally held on the third Thursday of the month quarterly from 5 to 7 p.m.
Thank you, Sam. Next up is quadrant reports. Trustees, please report on any observations from your assigned quadrants. And the Northwest, Vice Chair Carolyn
Yeah,
Brissett.
that's me. Boy, I continue to be impressed with the progress that's being made in the quadrant. My grandson and I walked through there probably a couple of weeks ago. Lots and lots of evidence of ivy removal. And the graveling, a nice update and addition. So it's become, I mean, part of what's attractive about that quadrant is it's more challenging to walk through. But it's become easier in terms of safety. So I think that's nice to see. And I just will put a plug in for, I didn't realize the Boy Scouts had put those directional signs in. But they not only look natural compared to some of the other signage that we have there, but that's a little bit more complicated set of trails back in there. And sometimes we get turned around and it's nice to have, just a couple of those signposts there.
I'm also in the northwest quadrant. I have not seen the elimination of the redundant trail. I haven't been along that Salmonberry Trail recently, but I do notice that the exterior trails are kept in very good shape. And so it all looks good to me at this point.
Okay. Jerry, would you like to report on the Northeast?
Yes, I have been there, walked through several weeks ago, but didn't get down to where the free route issue is. So excited to see that. Many congratulations to staff for the work on that particular area. And in the sections of the Northwest or the Northeast that I did travel through, I didn't see anything else to comment on. It looked great. So thank you.
I have similar comments to Jerry. I have yet to see the newest work on the Ravine Trail, but I'm very excited to check it out and just want to express my gratitude to city staff for all the work you continue to do, not only in that section, which is particularly difficult terrain, but throughout the park. So thank you so much. Tom, it does say that you are also in the southeast. Even?
These are the minutes from last time.
Okay.
Hmm. That route to the southeast.
That's right. So Tom, you're in the southeast now. Have you walked through there recently?
No, I have not been in the southeast quadrant recently, so I have nothing to report.
Okay. Has anyone walked through the southeast recently? I have about a month ago and it was looking pretty good. There were a few routes and as per usual, and the water bars seem to be holding up pretty well and ivy removal continues to be happening. So does anyone else have anything to report in the southeast? Is that a hand for you, Jerry?
Yeah, I read on some social media site that people were concerned about horse manure, which sometimes happens, I know, in that quadrant. And when I was there a few days later, I did see that, I did see evidence of that. And I did a relatively small job of pushing it off to the side with a stick that was there. So anyway, I'm not sure if the city had seen that social media issue or not. It seemed to be in a very small area and fairly well contained.
Thank you for bringing that up. If it's if I'm correct in my understanding, I don't think city staff that you all have access to social media for next door or anything like that, right?
No, sometimes we might get emailed like a screenshot from it, but the best way to let us know about that stuff would be like the See-Click Fix app or
Sure.
Am I Connect. We do, so the horse club across the street is pretty good about that, and they also have a link on their webpage that alerts them of horse waste, and so usually we can connect with them and they take care of it pretty quickly. So it does come up sometimes, but usually we can get it handled pretty quick without having to necessarily utilize city staff to do it. I also did want to note that I made a slight error when I mentioned the special meeting in November. It's the 12th, not the 17th. Sorry about that.
Thank you for catching that.
But yeah, any of those issues, you can report that to us and we'll either take care of it or contact the Saddle Club.
Thank you. Thank you for addressing that, Trustee Poor. Okay. This is our standing item for bringing forward topics that trustees feel should be added for future discussion. Do we have any topics for future discussion that we haven't addressed already? Okay, We will move on to adjournment. The next open space meeting is a special joint OSCT PRC hybrid meeting scheduled for November 12th, 2025 at 5 p.m. And as Sam had addressed, the topic on that is going to be on e-bikes. So there being no other business to come before the Open Space Conservancy Trust, the time now is 5:38 p.m. and the meeting is adjourned. Trustees, please stay seated until city staff has terminated the Zoom broadcast. Good evening and thank you for joining us.